Welcome to episode 100 of Crowdfunding Countdown. If you have tuned in since the beginning, we have covered 1,373 campaigns. That's 1,373 board games-ish, because sometimes we veer off the beaten path in campaigns. Sometimes campaigns have multiple games inside of them. I'm looking at you, BoardGameTables.com. Sorry. No! What a horrible way to start off this day. Oh, can I no longer make that joke? When you go to allplay.com, it now goes to letsallplay.com. It no longer... No! Oh, for those of you just tuning in to episode 100, let me tell you, let's get it up on the screen. An image of Nasty Chris. He's got to have something else. Allplay.co.uk. Come on, they can't have taken this. Where are you? Nasty Chris, where are you? I can't believe it. I can't believe this. I can't believe that they spent the money. Nasty Chris, you owe me a cut. I believe you owe me a cut of whatever you were paid for that website, because I've been doing this for ages. Oh, what a horrible... What a twist and what a turn to the start of the day. I gotta go back. I gotta go back in time and find out what other websites are on offer there, because I miss that supervillain in my life. For those of you, for context, this is what a horrible way to start the episode, but I have to contextualize it. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe this. For those of you who didn't know, there was this lovely gentleman where you went to allplay.com, it was just a picture of him. And at one point, it was a TikTok of him laughing. And that's all it was. And then when you click on it, he pops up on your screen and says, hey, I'd love to work out a deal on how you can buy this domain. And so it worked. He bought this domain, allplay.com, and they have shelled out the money for it so that people are directed to their website now. And now they've shelled out the money so that I cannot make that joke anymore. And honestly, Allplay, you've devastated me. You've devastated me on this holy of days. What should have been a joyous event has now turned into something just... I don't know if I can continue. Oh my goodness. I don't know how we're going to get back on track here. In fact, I think I'm going to need a little bit of help getting back on track with our first special guest of the evening. Let's give it up for our own favorite enforcer, Pablo the Pepper Pablo. I have to,
how's it going?
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I really have to ask you a serious question, though.
What is it?
And we have to put aside our differences
it's fine.
to figure this out.
I'm doing it for the
episode
cameras.
100.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
I appreciate that.
I said I agreed.
Now,
get to it, wise guy, or I'm a
I'm getting to it.
Okay. What are you saying?
How successful have you been in extorting people before? And can you believe that Nasty Chris of allplay.com is no longer?
I couldn't believe it. I taught him everything he knows. I'll tell you, he was an apprentice under mine. We stole a prison.
Wow.
Yeah, we stole an entire prison, and we told the
that
law
sounds like it
that we would give it back to them for $1 million.
Oh.
And so then we got we gave it back to them for 10.
Not really a win.
This is a win. We got $10.
A very sizable number, and you walked
away. No, but we wanted also that the prisoners stayed in prison, because as I'm a law-abiding citizen,
I didn't want to
just like Gerard Butler, and I'm gonna shoot you in the head if you come after me. Okay. Anyway, he was an apprentice of mine, so I'm gonna check out what he's been doing.
If you could, that would be great.
Yeah, he owes me a cut.
Okay, keep me posted.
Yeah,
keep me posted throughout the episode.
I'm not gonna do that.
If he comes back,
I'm not doing that for you, wise guy. Yeah, don't thank me.
There you have it.
I'm my own man.
Extortion works.
I'm my own pepper.
Don't do anything on your own volition. Just look at what other people might want, scoop it up for very small, and then sell it for higher. It's almost like I'm talking to a bunch of board game Kickstarter addicts with their hands on the next Marvel United. Anyway, let's get into the week. I cannot believe we had such a tangent right off the bat, but that's just how it is. I can't. Okay, I'm gonna put I've got to be professional. This is my last time harping for myself and feeling sorry for myself and feeling sorry for what could have been. And we are going to get on to the week. But before we do, I want to thank my newest patron, Chase. Thank you for jumping on board, Chase, and supporting the channel. It's incredibly generous. It's incredibly generous. All of my patrons who support the channel, you're all incredible. We have been doing this for 100 episodes. 100 friggin' episodes. Over 2 years, we've been looking at every single board game campaign that leaves the walls of crowdfunding, reading through all of those rule books, except the really long ones where I tell you I skim, and trying to find the cream of the crop, trying to find those hidden gems, those hidden arcs, and enjoying just looking at people creating in our hobby along the way. This is the reason why you have to be choosy about what you purchase on Kickstarter, because if you purchased everything, you would have over 1,000 board games in your house or on your way to your house right now, and that's ridiculous. But I do want to give a huge thanks to all my Patreon community. I'm not even going to be funny this week, which I know you're all saying, thank God, he's finally being genuine. No, I don't think I can. I don't think I can do it. But this series specifically has continued because of your support, because I know you all like it. And it's been great hanging out with all of you, everybody who's watched, tuned in, liked, and subscribed. For episode 100, this is a very special, cool milestone. And I'm excited to see how long I can go before all the board games overwhelm me. So let's get into the week. And also, to celebrate our 100th episode, we have a board game giveaway. A quick little board game giveaway. But the good people who made Mindbug, which was a pick of the week, one of the Kickstarters ago, it had a couple expansions out. They sent me a copy. I'm going to have a review on it, and you will have a chance to win another copy of Mindbug in that review. I'm going to try to put it out this week. It might happen next week. But they're giving away a copy of Mindbug in honor of our 100th episode. They have some pre-production copies that they are going to send out. You can get it before everybody. Their pledge manager is open, I think, until end of July. And so, yeah, thanks to them for giving away a game. I will do a drawing for the winner, announcing the winner probably next week, in next week's crowdfunding countdown. So just drop down below in the comments. If you were a bug, what sort of bug would you be? Would you be a squishy, slippery little worm? Would you be a cute little ladybug? Throw some modifiers in there. Throw some weird adjectives to give me a chuckle. And I will pick one person randomly. And if they don't have something calling themselves a little insect, then I'm going to redraw until I get to that person. So thanks to Mindbug. The team at Mindbug for making that happen, and you can stay tuned to my review coming out later as to what I think of it. Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good dueling card game. If you like dueling card games, it's one you should look at. If you don't like dueling card games, well, still drop a comment below. We're moving on to our first campaign of the week. We do have some good campaigns this week, or some ones that I am very interested in. And we have a Come On campaign this week, so let's check it out. First, we have Tome, the Sound Codex. The next chapter of Tome is here. I looked ahead because I wasn't sure if this was an actual game or not, so I don't have to pause and talk about it, because I can talk about it right away, because it is an actual game. This is an expansion pack for a game called Tome, which is a little light trick-taking game. This campaign page is pretty garbage, to be honest, because it doesn't really tell me what it is until you go off-site, and then it can tell you that it is a trick-taking game with 4 basic elements. And so this expansion pack that they're trying to throw in adds in 3 more elements, but they're not elements. They're sound, poison, and sleep, which, as we all know, makes up the Sound Codex. The 3 pillars of sound: sound, poison, and sleep. Poison being 95% represented by Carol Channing and the entire cast of that Hello Dolly Broadway recording. That's a very obscure deep cut, but seriously, it's not good. There's a guy who I call Mr. Vibrato, and he goes, "Out there," and there's only the only way I can create the amount of vibrato he creates is by doing that. Okay, we're getting off track. That's not what you're here for. Or maybe it is. I think it is. We're looking at Tome, the Light Edition, where if you go to their website, you can see the rulebook. And basically, it's a simple trick-taking game where all the cards have special abilities. And I like that concept. I think that's a neat concept. I've seen it in a few other games as well, where whatever card you play has a specific ability, so it kind of gives the cards asymmetrical or variable player powers as you play. And it might get out of hand fast, right? It might give you that real chaotic, you cannot plan or cannot do anything. I can see this easily getting out of control in a way that becomes just random and not strategic and not interesting. But I also like people who kind of push the envelope with that. And so this is sitting around $20 US for the sound codex and the base game. And shipping is, I believe, $7. Oh no, it's 12. 12 to get to Canada. 5 to the United States, though. If you like trick-taking games, this could be something worth checking into. I don't quite know if it is, but the price seems reasonable. So if you really like those trick-taking games and you want that element of like a lot of randomness, if you thought, you know what I hate in trick-taking games? Counting cards and control over the cards. I want things that are zany. Well, then this one might be interesting to you, so you can check that out. The finish is Wednesday, July 26th at 10 a.m. Moving along to Toongeon Dice. Roll your dice and get magic crystals to create the deadliest monsters and traps to make your Toongeon the most powerful of all. Oh, and you can get Rolling Ghosts. I was like, I've seen this before, but that was a different game. You can get the same game as well. I always like to take a look at little roll and write print and plays because people have said in the comments that they love them. So let's check it out. Okay, I'll level with you. I got so distracted during that Toongeon Dice that I went back to an old Crowdfunding Countdown episode 79. So you can see it's on my screen there. And I can't bring it up on this screen. It's a different screen. And I went through all of the lists because there was a list of other allplay whatever on the side. Allplay.live, allplay.ltd, allplay.mobi, allplay.online, allplay.org, allplay.shop. And none of them give me the allplay.com, man. None of them do. And so Allplay, tell me where he went. Tell me where my sweet boy went. It's hard to have a 100th episode celebration when one of your core characters is missing in action. That's all I'm saying. Okay, let's take out Toongeon Dice. It's very simple. The premise is you're a dungeon. Being an evil Toongeon isn't easy nowadays, especially when adventurers are getting stronger and better prepared to raid your rooms and steal your treasures. During your turn, you'll roll 6 dice and use them to create magic crystals, according to the alchemy chart on the game sheet. For example, you can create an amber crystal by getting 2 of a kind on your roll, assigning these dice to the amber crystal frame. Or you can spend 2 amber crystals to create a crimson crystal. And then finally, when you create the magic crystals you need to create the monster or the trap of your choice, you return those crystals to the general supply, take the corresponding monster and trap token. Oh, alright. So there's going to be a bunch of tokens as well that I suppose you can print and play. Because this is a print and play, there's never going to be a printed version of it. Having tokens is interesting in a print and play. I mean, I guess you could just get a thick thing of cardboard or cardstock and then print it on that. Each monster and trap is worth points, so the player with the most scored points wins the game. So creating those engines and that different pathway up the chain, you could probably do it if everybody uses the dice the same way, right? But if you're interested in that, check it out. The finish is Wednesday, July 26th at 11:15 a.m. Moving along to Sword and Sorcery, Abyssal Legends. Our co-op fantasy dungeon crawler is back with the mind-bending climax to the Ancient Chronicles and Immortal Souls campaigns. It's another epic campaign game. I hope Editing Chris found some epic music there and it wasn't just him with a kazoo. Although now that I think about it, that's why it was just me pretending to be a kazoo. Let's check this one out. Fact check time. Yeah, okay. It does say one of the very best cooperative adventures, ranking 413. All right, ranking 413 on BGG. Thematic 62. I just wish it was under co-op. That's what I wanted to see, where it ranked in the co-op, to see if it was very best and throw shade. But actually, you're doing better than I expected, Sword and Sorcery. I remember this was in one of our death matches, and it didn't win. I could only assume that it was garbage. But maybe it isn't. Let's hear it sound off in the comments, all you Sword and Sorcery fans. Tell me why I'm being mean, and I'm excited to look into this a little bit more. So Sword and Sorcery is going 100% Cthulhu. That's what's happening here. You have to maintain your insanity. You have to fight tentacly creatures from the deep with cannons and guns in this new Sword and Sorcery campaign. Like, that's just clearly Cthulhu, and it is officially canon. Now, here's the thing. Is this not a standalone game? No. Maybe yes. $99. Well, at least they do say that they're bringing the dark and scary vibes of Cthulhu mythos to the Sword and Sorcery world. I like this, though. They're right away explaining the Sword and Sorcery system in case you haven't seen it before, highlighting no game master needed, no player elimination, dying, becoming a ghost soul, and resurrecting your hero are part of the game engine. That's kind of cool. Real story-driven campaign with multiple outcomes, a main plot, and several optional quests, world and city exploration. Cool. Multiple development paths for your heroes. I like that. Sophisticated tactical combat system based on a custom 10-sided die. An advanced artificial intelligence engine for enemies and master enemies. Customizable difficulty level. Yeah, okay. Just seems like they're just trying to pad out the list at this point. Crafting, loots, treasures, traps, and many aspects of a true fantasy legendary adventure are all part of the game. And full compatibility between the two Sword and Sorcery sagas, Immortal Souls and Ancient Chronicles. All heroes can be played in either campaign. You still haven't told me if it is a standalone expansion. The mind-bending climax, yes, I get it. Abyssal Legends, doesn't say expansion on the box, but it does say the most epic expansion ever. Really wish that was highlighted just right away. I'm going to assume that it is standalone. Let's assume that it is, because if it isn't, they better have said something about it. Nope, just kidding. Abyssal Legends is a campaign expansion. How far, like 1/6 down the page until you actually get to this information? That's stupid. Abyssal Legends is a campaign expansion, not a complete game, to be played by high-level heroes. It requires one core set and one Act 2 set to play either Ancient Chronicles and Northwind Tales or Immortal Souls and Darkness Falls. For this region, 2 pledge levels are available. If you're already a Sword and Sorcery player, you want the new content, $99, that's for you. 1712 backers have purchased this, so obviously those are 1712 happy people who want to delve more into the new stuff. Or if you're new to the game and you want to receive, in addition to your Abyssal Legends reward, everything else you need to play the full Ancient Chronicles saga, the Ancient Chronicles core set, Act 1, and the Northwind campaign, Act 2, then that's what this one is. I do appreciate that it doesn't seem like they're forcing both Act 2s on you, so that feels okay. Or maybe they are. I really wish there was a rulebook here, though, in addition to all that sort of stuff. But they do have videos, and they do have a little breakdown, so it was at the top of the page. That's fine. This gameplay features, I wish, was up a bit further, but this is also just expanding upon how different it is. So you get ships and cannons, and basically you're going to be on this ship, and it's going to be focusing around this ship for a while. Yeah, I see no rulebook on this page, though, which is annoying. Shipping and taxes. Let's check it out. Let's see if it's going to be too much shipping. Probably is. They're not including VAT and shipping charges as part of your pledge. Our estimates are between 20 and 35 for reward shipping to destination, above mentioned as customs friendly. So over here, that's good, because Canada does have customs fees, judging by my UPS bills. And then here, between 40 and 70 for reward shipping to a destination outside the territories above. And then, this is a big garbage. Just make a little chart, make a little table. We love tables here at Room and Board. Add approximately 50% to the above for the Abyssal Champion rewards. I feel like that's them saying, listen, it's going to be expensive and we don't want to write the number down for you. Maybe that's why there's only 162 people getting into it. I mean, I don't feel like I really need to cover this or read through the rules, but I'll watch a bit of this video, I think. Honestly, no, I'm not wasting any more time on that. No rulebook here and no adequate good summation of really how to play. I don't see why you should jump in at the new level, because the campaign's not telling you to jump in. If you're an existing fan of Sword and Sorcery, for $99 you get a whole bunch more stuff. It's really $135, because always go with the upper end on shipping, so you're not surprised later on, and you can factor that into your own sort of cost evaluation. There you go. I hope it's not too stagnant on the boat. I hope the boat gives you that flexibility, but right now it looks like it would be fairly stagnant. And Sword and Sorcery didn't do that well, although it beat Hero Quest in like large campaign games. I think that was the deathmatch that it was in. Kind of forget. Anyway, we got too much to do, so we're moving on to another rulebook that I'm going to be excited about. Another big sort of minis game. This is Mordred. This is our Command campaign that, by Command standards, hasn't raised really that much at all. But let's check it out. Mordred stopped the chaos, taking over the lands of Britannia by leading a legendary faction into glory in this epic strategy board game. My good friend Colin said, hey, have you seen Mordred? It looks really cool. I've backed it. So I will get a chance to play this at some point, unless I watch it and I say, hey, Colin, you won't like this. Don't get it. I also did warn him about shipping, and he said, oh, yeah, it's only something like $60. And I questioned our friendship at that moment in time. I did. But here we go. Let's see if we can salvage something. Okay, it looks very cool and also looks like a theme that makes zero sense by that video description. It's like, hey, I'm Mordred, King of Britain. I unleashed a bunch of stuff out into this world. And you know what? They're fighting. But I'm still Mordred. Maybe Mordred is one of the factions? I don't know. You're going to play as an asymmetrical faction where you can recruit other Knights of the Round Table who don't have a king anymore because Arthur's gone. If you wanted to be a minion of Mildred or a minion of Mordred, well, then this is the way to do it. 2 to 4. Interesting. I don't know if this will be a good two-player game, but we're going to check it out. Factions will attempt to gain the favor of Merlin, Mordred, and Morgana in a war that crosses over realms. So we want all of the favor. So you're just a random faction and Mordred is there. And he's like, listen, I'm ready for war. Fight! And you get to play as the little pathetic little puppets. Oh, and there's also monstrous beasts roaming the land as well. Kind of reminded me of Lords of Hellas. And so because of this spell, your faction can rise up and get the most favor from everyone, and then they'll just be like, cool, yeah, your faction is the winning faction, and we're going to keep on doing our little fight over in this other corner. I'm pretty sure that's the theme. This little circle seems to be a core mechanic of the game. It says it's going to cost you time, so I assume it's a time track mechanic where whenever you land, you get to take that type of action, and then whenever somebody crosses here, you reveal these fate cards that are thrown in by placing people on this symbol. Maybe. That's a good guess. I hope I'm right. I like guessing and just being able to intuit the rules based upon iconography. That shows A, potentially a good game, and B, that I've done this for a while. This is wild to me. This seems like a bit gimmicky, but also just fun, where the map unfolds. So you only have 3 regions and then unfolds, and you create more regions. It just seems, I don't know, it seems kind of fun. It's going to be $110 plus more plus shipping. But I do love that they lead with these high elves. 9 warriors, a chief, and 3 mystics, right? So your mystics probably get to do something different. But I just love that these are friggin' cool bears. I don't know why they're not in color. Here, they should be in color. It should just be a natural faction in a color, like Rising Sun. Ugh, I certainly hope that's the case, as it's shown in the video, and not here. So your stretch goals already has a gnome faction and a bunch of different monsters and hero. Oh, yeah, Command knows how to do stretch goals, I'll tell you that. And they know how to add in things that'll make you want them. 3 new factions, jeez. I can already see, like, Command knows how to parcel things out in ways that are so enticing, even when you don't know the game. Like, I don't know the game yet, but I'm seeing, okay, 13 hobs, well, even better than Hobgoblin. The Hobbs have embraced their true supremacy here and have emerged into their own right. They've stopped needing to add other races' names to their name. No, these are the original Hobbs, the OG Hobbs, and not the Calvin and Hobbs, but the other ones. So this giving you just like a bunch of different enemies to fight, and this giving you more factions, right? It just doubles your price, but it feels like such a pull. Rulebook halfway down the page after you get all excited. But hey, only 15 pages too? That's pretty good. Oh no, it's 30 pages, but it's 15 pages for my PDF. Gameplay video. The folks at the Dice Tower joined in a gameplay session. Where's that gameplay video? Guess it hasn't been posted yet, but that's weird because it's very close to the end of the campaign. So that's a good one. What is good about Command's campaigns, especially if you're getting in near the end, is that their updates are generally pretty good. Like, they'll give you a decent amount of explanation for all the stuff, and they're pretty active in the updates. That's what I always kind of appreciate about a Command campaign as we go through their barrelfuls. Bubbo. See, this is how they get me. This is how you get me. You just need to give someone a stupid name, and I'm in. Like Boudica or Galahad. Am I right? I know. Galahad is a very common knight, just like Dragged. Kind of spooky. Let's go to shipping. Canada, $48 to $62. Yeah. So good on you, Colin. Going with the upper register. So it could be $170 US, 200-ish Canadian. Jeez. 33 to 44. This feels fairly average in terms of commands. Pricing, it feels like it's not undervaluing, but I feel like they've kind of balanced out a bit for their shipping or whatever they cost for shipping or charge for shipping. But still, at 110, you're looking at 140 140 minimum, 150 for the base pledge. To get to me in Canada, it's like 200 plus bucks. Plus, then you're just like, oh, I might as well add another 100. Nah, might as well. Okay, let's keep reading. Actions a player perform cost time. For each unit of time spent, their player trackers move forward by one section of the chaos tile, like this. Boom. Units do a bunch of different things. So the chief gives additional combat cards. Warriors are just fine. And mystics can use magic. So there's a magic portion of the combat cards. Cool. I like that. Chaos erupts after every player tracker passes the chaos line for the first time. And the game ends after every tracker has passed the chaos time for the second time. Chaos line. The chaos dial also dictates events that occur on the board according to the icons in each sector. Yeah, that makes sense. So kind of what we were thinking. When the chaos, so the lost lands come into play, when everybody's passed the first thing. Cool. I like that it seems you can stack on each other. So it's really just your actions cost time. And you're not, I really dislike that idea, the mechanic that's in Parks and Tokaido, where it's kind of worker placement or blocking the actions, but it just, for me, it usually devolves into, okay, what's the closest action so that I can take more actions, because most of the actions are generally balanced anyway. That's actually a potentially more interesting version of that, where specifically the actions feel unbalanced. Specifically, there are a bunch of actions that feel really strong, and they're super spaced out. And so then it becomes about how many little actions can I take in between, how many little actions do I want to give up to my opponent. That's potentially much more interesting use of that. But when all the actions feel the same, then you get into that loop of just like, okay, well, I'll take the next one because I don't want to. There's no real incentive for me to keep on moving forward, right? That's a tangent that doesn't really affect this game, but there you go. That's what you're here for, room and tangent. So how to take an action. A player performs an action by placing an action disc in the corresponding dashboard slot. So you have three basic actions: march, muster, or magic. So march is moving your units, muster is moving your faction chief and spawning units, and then magic is playing spell cards. That seems pretty simple. All actions may be performed multiple times. However, an action costs one additional time for each action disc already in its slot. Okay, so that's how you do it. So in this case, if you were to muster, that would actually cost you 2 movements of your own time tracker. So with there being 12 spaces around, that will limit your actions in that way. Oh, cool. And when the last player tracker leaves a chaos style sector, so this little chaos, then the corresponding event triggers. But this is how you set yourself up using this time mechanic to potentially take more turns in a row. That's interesting. I like that a lot more, I think, than most time tracker mechanics. March makes sense. You move units from one space to another space. Doesn't matter where, you just move from one spot to another. Oh, and it costs 1 time for each group of units moving from one territory to an adjacent one. So you could move multiple units and have the same time efficiency here. That's interesting. So I can wait to move. Interesting. So for muster, move the chief unit to any adjacent territory, then add any number of units from the player's reserve into the chief's territory, 1 time for each unit added. So if you had another thing, it would cost you 2 time for each unit added. Interesting. So, well, isn't that interesting? I don't know. It feels like you just summon everything everywhere, and then you put them where you want, and then you play some magic cards. And I don't know how we break out of this potential pattern, right? Like in strategy-wise, Oh, note, a player cannot have more than 4 units belonging to them in a single territory. Okay, fine. That takes out that strategy then. So you have to go back and forth a little bit, but I don't know how interesting that's going to be. Okay, cool. And here are the chaos style events. Monsters, move each monster. That makes sense. Leader, move each leader to an adjacent territory. So the leaders are Mordred, Morgana, and Merlin, and they're actively on the board. War. When units from 2 factions inhabit a single territory, they go into battle. So the war will happen when people move out of that and is only triggered in that instance. That's neat. So you play combat cards, and then you add up attack and defense of each unit. And it's not like everybody kills everybody, it's relative to your strength. So if I have 5 strength, you have 4 strength, you're going to lose 1, basically. And then you're getting favor tokens in that territory, which, as we know, the favor tokens are going to grant you points at the end of the game. And the player with the highest favor is the winner. Chaos Breakout, you're going to flip this over. Oh, and then you place lost land tiles. And so you create these new territories where people can move into as well. All right. So simple area control. The unique element here would be the time aspect to it. I don't know how asymmetrical these factions are to make you desperately get these. You can get the fawns, the plains dwarfs, the wood elves. So I guess you just get different cards, right? Honestly, the difference of these characters, the asymmetry of these characters, feels potentially like the asymmetry in Dragon Bond, which seems like it's a lot of asymmetry, probably isn't a lot. That was weird why that in the rulebook it didn't really say anything about the factions, right? It didn't have a section where it said, hey, these are the factions. Oh, and it was only 15 pages. It was. That's interesting. Oh, the other one which I forgot to talk about is the fate action. And so there's a fate deck. You choose one and discard the other, knowing that the ones you discard are going to be chaos later on. I don't know. I don't see a huge amount coming from the variability. I like the knights, so you can hire these things. The monsters are going to be roaming and potentially attacking you. There could be a bit more information, but it's definitely intriguing to me. I don't know if it sells me on that $200 Canadian price point as it is. But that being said, generally, here are the factions. We have the High Elves, the Hobyars, the Underground Dwarves, and the Humans. So 4 factions, and you are getting that additional 5th faction with the stretch goals in the Gnome faction, with some additional monsters and stuff. Generally not bad. Is that worth that additional $60 in shipping? Like if you're in Canada, right? I don't know. I don't know if that additional faction is enough to get me to pull the trigger, or if you could wait for retail on this. It would probably be like 110 Canadian in retail, and then plus tax, you're looking like 130. So you're paying like an extra 70 for the stretch goals, for the excitement of being part of the Kickstarter. I think it has potential. I do think it has potential. Doesn't completely sell me, but I think it definitely has potential. And you know what? I think if it had a different theme, if it had a friggin' Cthulhu theme, it would be over $1 million. It would. But I don't have to worry about 5 reasons you shouldn't back. I just have to talk to Colin and say, hey, yeah, if you get it, I'm going to play it with you, and we'll find out together. I think it's all about if you think that managing of your time to create action efficiency for yourself is interesting to you, and also like how interesting the third option of the magic is going to be. That's the things that I would look at. Anyway, if you're interested in that, it finishes Wednesday, July 26th at 10 p.m. Moving along, just quickly, to the Geologists Primer by Double Proficiency, an illustrated guide to real-world crystals, minerals, and metals by the creators of the Herbalist Primer. This reminded me of where the Crawdads sing, of the book of drawn stuff, which tells you all about the gems that you're getting. A hardcover book with 360 pages of geological, geomythological, folklore, and tabletop role-playing materials. $20 for the digital edition, $50 for the full book. Better than Gloomhaven RPG, I can only assume. Anyway, I thought that kind of looked cool if you like RPGs, if you like rocks in your RPGs and crystals and wanted this as like a cool book of lore. I figured I'd mention it just because I thought it looked neat. The finish is Thursday, July 27th at 12 p.m. Oh, and you know, I clicked on this one. Now, you've heard of Naughty Wicked Bad Boys, but have you heard of Naughty Gnolls? Have you? It's just, it's a compendium of goblin trolls and naughty gnolls. I'm a simple man. I see a naughty gnoll. I gotta click it. Okay, let's actually move on to the DC deck building game, Justice League Dark. Get ready for something magical, probably not. The second DC DBGKSF JLD, the next R game, lots of surprises. I think that's that tagline. Meh. I don't understand how Cryptozoic's bestseller has been the DC deck building system, because every other deck builder from Cryptozoic that I've tried, to be fair, I've only tried 3 of them, is better than the DC deck builder. I don't know how this gets so much love, but there you go. Cryptozoic, give me an Attack on Titan expansion, would ya? Give me more Epic Spell Wars Annihilageddon. That's where my heart is at. But hey, you get Kickstarter exclusives, right? That was their highlight in the video. They said, don't worry, we're making a bunch of things that you'll never get again, just so it seems like it's worth it. Anyway, let's see what Justice League Dark is all about. You could get the Kickstarter exclusive cover, which does look cool, and the 4th 2-player Rivals game for $75 US, $100 Canadian. This is a very standard deck builder that doesn't do too much, but it just has a bunch of DC characters on it. I'm going to see if there's anything different, but I doubt there is. I think they have incorporated some of the stuff that I think makes Epic Spell Wars better than the DC deck building system. They might have incorporated that into this, and so maybe it's a bit more interesting. It's just chaining things together. All of Cryptozoic's deck builders can be comboed together as well. You can just mash all of your cards together if you want to take good games and mix them with, an okay game. You can do that. I just think that we've got a lot of shiny, cool art here, but the price is $75, and there's going to be shipping. And instead, when we were talking about deck builders over in our Discord, somebody was like, I mentioned Annihilageddon, and somebody was able to go get that off Amazon for like $35. I don't know if the cost here, even with these Kickstarter exclusive cards, like any of these promo cards, especially promo cards in a deck builder, they're not going to be important, and I really don't believe you'll miss their absence if you don't get them. I much prefer things that change like a board state. If we look at Mordred or something, I get more the monsters that are moving around because, hey, it's a different enemy and has a different effect on the area. Again, I don't really feel like their monsters, the roaming monsters, will really affect all that much, just judging by what I read in Mordred, but it's kind of like Kickstarter exclusives are a way to get you to spend more money, right? That's what it is, because it creates a sense of unjustified scarcity, and I like to try to call out which ones will add to your gameplay and which ones you may not even notice. And this feels like it's more in that latter category than not. And at this point too, like there's so many different offshoots of the Rivals and the Rebirth. It's like, you don't need that much. Just like Zach Groombridge doesn't need more Aeon's End content, you don't need that much. Like, even still, here we go. We're finally getting to Justice League Dark, how to play, when they've just smashed you over the head with, oh, there's this different thing. And to me, that doesn't excite me. That makes me less enthusiastic about the game. I'm like, tell me what I really need to know. Tell me the actual distinction between these two things, rather than these weird buzzword marketing smashing over the head that happens. And hey, I like Cryptozoic. Cryptozoic made my second favorite game of all time, Attack on Titan, the deck builder game. But this, it ain't that. Very simple deck builder. There's going to be a lineup of cards. There's going to be 3 stacks. These stacks, this one right here is the most important stack because it's got all the supervillains. Generally in DC deck builder, you got to get through the supervillains, and then you count points at the end. So every card you're adding to your deck is worth points. But basically, you want to get the supervillains into your deck because they're worth the most points, and they also have the most and best abilities. And so if you can quickly get to one of those, you win, is generally been my experience with the game. And that is why I'm not that interested. See, recruit villains to your cause. Also, thematically, you're defeating the villain and then they're coming onto your side. I guess they did in Spider-Man. This is a bit better, that they're not overpowered villains and they don't go into your deck, because it's saying a reward, you get an immediate reward, and then you just get the points. So you're racing to get these. That feels a bit better, like a little bit more balanced than the initial way that they did it. And this one is dealing with this new gameplay mechanic, the seal mechanic. You can seal cards. When you seal a card, it goes into your score pile. So it's not part of your deck, but count towards your score. So it helps thin your deck while keeping points. Oh, like that's pretty good. Immediately play a card from the lineup and seal it away in your score file. Oh, I thought that was only cost 2. Yeah, it costs 7. That makes sense because you're constantly getting points. So in this Rivals mode, each player must recruit unique heroes and villains and utilize various equipment and superpowers with the ultimate goal of defeating their foe 3 times. So the Rivals seems like it's closer to the gameplay loop of Annihilageddon, which interests me a lot more than the standard DC deck builder. So I like that. You can also get these Legion of Doom, so you basically just get these 13 cards in a limited edition box. This has 0 interest to me, because why would I want a box for 13 cards? I get it for collectors, but I want to collect things, and I got too many boxes already. All right. Anyway, that's a breakdown of what it is. We need to keep moving. I've spent too much time on this. It's just like, you don't need this much content. It'll be a fine game. I think with the tweaks that they've done, it's probably a better game than it has been, than I have played it in the past, because they've reinvigorated it. Sure. I just don't think you ever need to get it at Kickstarter. I think if you're interested in the DC deck builder, you can go get it at your store and you'll be fine. Especially because look at the shipping, $26. I told you, $100 Canadian, $100 US to get it to your door, $45 shipping. And in some regions, the cost of shipping may exceed the cost of the tier you're pledging for. Unfortunately, this cannot be avoided. Yeah, geez, shipping is just horrible. Seems like VAT might be included, but I don't know. Yeah, shipping rates and VAT. So I think they're including the VAT in your shipping cost right here. I'm not sure. That's actually very unclear. Anyway, all this to say, I could have said it quicker. I'm sorry. But I wanted to make sure I was doing my due diligence. Hopefully I have. I just don't think this is worth it in any capacity whatsoever. I think there are so many other better deck builders out there. But if you're excited about it, great. I hope you enjoy it more than I ever have. And that finishes Thursday, July 27th at 4 p.m. Let's move along to, would you look at that? Another deck builder. Shards of Infinity, the Saga collection, the complete Shards of Infinity deck building series with new promo cards. Look at that. Added gameplay and improved components all in one box. Well, if you wanted more deck builders, all you had to do was look next door. All right, so Shards of Infinity is by Stoneblade. They did the Ascension deck builder. I was hoping to get a chance to play the Ascension deck builder, but I haven't played it yet. I did like a talk on YouTube and Kickstarters. They have like a designer school, I think, that's run through Stoneblade, and somebody reached out and was like, hey, do you want to do a talk? And I was like, yeah, okay. And they're like, yeah, we'll send you some swag, some games. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I've heard great things about Ascension. And then I just got a bunch of Soulforge Fusion, which is not a deck builder. I haven't played it yet. But I heard Ascension is good. I've heard really good things about Ascension, and Shards of Infinity is by the same designer. And you know what? I was expecting a much higher price because they're combining everything together. I mean, they did only say 300 cards, so I was managing my expectations. But $59, $80 Canadian, that feels better than DC Deck Builder, that's for sure. Especially because it adds in a bunch of little expansion packs to it. They also say, you can play this with 6 players. Why you'd ever play a deck builder with 6 players, I don't know, because it feels like it would be so slow. Although it is PvP, right? They do have 3 modes, PvP, solo, and cooperative. So I imagine you're punching each other in the face. And let's see if they have a rulebook here. 12 characters and villain standees, health and mastery trackers. There you go. 6 players and 1 villain. So you can face off against a villain together, or you can just fight each other. 86 campaign cards. Don't know what that means yet. You win by defeating all your opponents, reduce their health from 50 to 0. So you want to do this as a 2-player game, probably. I don't think a 6-player game would be fun, because when you get to 0 at a 6-player game, and there are 5 other people playing, you go play Friday. Standard thing, 10-card deck, stuff gives you buying power, stuff gives you punching power. Each turn you can spend a crystal to increase your mastery by 1, so you're always going to be doing that to get up to a certain threshold to do stuff. Mercenaries get to be played instantly. Yeah, that makes sense. They do that in Vigilante as well. Same keyword. Relics are formidable items of immense power. Once you achieve a mastery level of 10, these unique treasures unlock, aka why you always just want to be spending crystals so that you can get to the good stuff first. I like this idea, though. This potentially separates it from other deck builders of needing to raise, like, your mana threshold and there being a cost to that. Because, like, what if I really want that 5 crystal cost thing in the middle? Do I sacrifice that tempo for what it adds to my deck, right? And that potentially is interesting. 6 factions of 6 ways to combo things together, or things that will combo each other. On the campaign mode, you read from an innovative battle book, which tells an actual story. Look at that. As the time-traveling res, you can decide which threat to take on alongside the other shard masters. But if you're time-traveling, then you should be able to go to wherever you want, right? Oh, that's cool. The entire campaign is free. Don't need to purchase anything. And it's narrated as well. Nice. And they also have a legacy-style mode as well, with sagas. So I probably would just open up all the cards anyway, but I like deck builders that build these sorts of things in. Like, that's why I'm really excited about Aeon's End and the new, like, past and future campaign. Like, it tells the story and it introduces the mechanics. It gives you these little mini legacy style campaigns to play through, which are always pretty fun. Jesus, click here to for 70 plus reviews and tutorials. That's a good flex. It was Tom's number 100, but that's an older video because it's not sponsored by WSBG. Let's check out the shipping. Where's the rulebook? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, though? There's no friggin' rulebook here? That's annoying. That's really annoying. You can add on Ascension's Tactics. Where is the... like, come on, Stoneblade. You know I harp on this. Like, literally, $20 shipping, so it's an $80 game. I would say that's not horrible, but I need to actually read the damn rules. I don't want 70 plus reviews and tutorials. I'd like to make up my own decision, thanks very much. I like this little breakdown, but, like, I just want to see the ins and outs. I want to see how these mastery things work. I want to see what your actual breakdown is. The fact that this has been out for so long, there's absolutely no excuse not to have the rulebook on this campaign. Zero excuse. God, that's so annoying. I was feeling quite favorable towards you, and you were in good territory, especially with the more expensive 75 versus your total of 79 after shipping, and yet you don't give me the opportunity. So that's unfortunate. Into how these things work together, if there's anything else that I should really know about. Very unfortunate. It doesn't seem like there is. It seems like very standard, though, right? Like, you can see by the outline of this board, you're just going to punch each other in the face, or this solo campaign, the saga, like, that kind of looks interesting. But, like, I just want to be fully informed before purchasing or saying yes, and you're not giving me that opportunity, so I can't recommend you. Anyway, if you're interested in that, though, that finishes July 27th at 4 p.m. Moving along to the Serengeti Sanctuary. Preserve the wilds of Africa and restore life to the animal kingdom. Serengeti Sanctuary, a beautiful game for 2 to 4 players where you draft cards, make sets to compete to expand your wildlife reserve as successfully as possible. Finalist of the Ravensburger Next Big Family Game competition. Look at that. Current finalist. Now, I've heard that the best way, the recommended way to play Serengeti Sanctuary is to just buy 2 copies. That's why this is featured here, right? Makes complete sense to show people double the price of what they actually need to pay to get 2 games. Really makes sense for that to be the featured reward. Just freaking mind-boggling to me. But it's a drafting game. Let's get to the rulebook. You save £4 though, so £2 each. That's like $5 Canadian, 10% off. Otherwise, it's 35 Canadian, £20. All right. I like that price for a nice little drafting game. I'll talk a little bit more about this in a second. This is what's intriguing me the most, is that you can upgrade your team members as you play. But it's a set collection drafting, right? You want to get this. If you have 3 lions at the watering hole, well, you're going to get 10 paws. But if you have just 1 lion, this poor lion doesn't have any paws. It's just rolling around on the ground. Oh, that's just a horrible sight and thought. See, 3 lions. They don't all have to be at the watering hole. It's showing if your lion can make it from the watering hole to the savannah and to the purple Lion King set. Well, then your lion is going to have 10 paws just sprouting out all over it. I like that it's on Tabletopia. I don't like that we just finished the gameplay and there's, I swear if this friggin', I think it's going to happen. There are going to be so many. Is this a record for no rulebooks on the campaign? Am I being punked right now on my special day? My special 100th episode? £5 to get to the UK, £10 to get to Canada will make this like a $50 game. I'm going to lose it. I'm going to friggin' lose it. It shouldn't be more complicated than this, but in their video, it didn't even show the central drafting area, or I missed it. Let's check it out again. Nope. Certainly didn't show this central drafting area. I also want to find out more about the things that you can do with your team members. Here are examples of a few drafting abilities that you'll have access to over the course of the game. I'd love if there were more examples. Jeez, what are you doing? There's got to be a rulebook over on Tabletopia, right? Rules, boom. I'm going to friggin' lose it. Here's the rulebook. Why is it not on your stupid GameFound campaign? Like, how did you ever think this was a good idea? Digital rulebook, paper rulebook. I'm desperately trying to click to find where I have, because I go on these rants a lot, I'll tell you. Not a lot, but a few times where I'm like, where's the rule? And then I find the rulebook and I just cut it out in post, right? FAQ. Really, there's no thing that says, how do you play the game? That's nice that we're able to reduce shipping costs, but it's like, it makes me so mad. I don't know if you could tell. It's just so stupid that like I have to click off site. And if you've never done something on Tabletopia before, you don't know that the rules actually exist in Tabletopia. Please tell me I've been missing it. Oh, apparently there's a sanctuary board in the middle of the board. Great, that's good to know. Freaking heck. 52 animals, here we go. All right, anyway, I'm gonna read through this and give you a breakdown, even though I don't think they freaking deserve it. You wanna go to 50 points, the game will last 4 to 5 turns. Drafting, using a boomerang draft or a snake draft. You get 2 drafting actions, and you take all the cards of one terrain type from any row or any column, and I assume that it's refilled. Maybe it isn't refilled. Gotta be refilled. So this is interesting. This is like how you're going to refresh and remove things and shift things around so that you can pull more cards from the row, right? So it's probably not refresh because you can slide things, moving them with the trail guides. So conservationist, you can add the cards back in. So you need the specific things. Animal caretaker, you can swap 2 things. Park ranger, you can pay a sanctuary token. That's what these things are to get an additional terrain. Everybody always has a park ranger, so is always able to do it. And then animal breeder, after taking a card action, you can pay 1 sanctuary token to advance 1 step on a repopulation track. So this team members track right here, which will give you a bonus in the expansion phase. Well, what's the expansion phase, you ask? Good question. I'm interested as well. And so things that are remaining in the sanctuary area, the stuff in the middle, they get sanctuary tokens on them to make them a little bit more exciting to take next time, and anything on the outsides that aren't taken, they just go away. Interesting. Okay, cool. And so you can score points, or you can use those points to either promote team members to a new role, to unlock new abilities, new ways to rearrange the market. See, that's exciting to me. Or to hold on to cards in your hand. It makes sense. I assume that you have to, like, you can't add to a set, right? Otherwise, you'd just play all your cards always. It doesn't say that here, but that's what I would assume. So let's go with that because that's more interesting. Once somebody's reached 50 points, the game's over. Yeah, seems pretty neat. What's shipping like? Right, we already looked at it. We looked at it earlier, so it would cost me $50 to get it to my door. $50 Canadian. Personally, no. But it seems like simple. I think it's slick. And the upgrading of the team members seems very fun to me, right? Being able to upgrade and paying the point cost and moving team members around. I think that's slick. And I like that a lot. Anyway, it has funded. Way to go. If you're interested in that, it finishes on the 28th, July 28th at 12 p.m. Friday. Also Friday, July 28th. Just quickly, Tea Party. I clicked on this because it's been going for ages. It said, goal reached in 45 days. That's perseverance. And then this is adding atmosphere to your game nights with luxury character class tea. With new classes being added to our highly regarded range, we have something for everything in your party. I think it's just kind of a funny idea, a funny way of framing the different types of teas. You can have a wizard tea, a smoky black tea, and just the idea of pairing things related to your class feels kind of fun. We have the fighter, strong black tea. The cleric, soothing chamomile and lemongrass. The ranger, healing peppermint with ginkgo and pumpkin. And mint, the sorcerer, mysterious chai with chili. The dungeon masker, sumptuous whiskey black tea. The assassin, seductive rose black tea. The thief, caramel black tea. You know, this is my first time in my life where I thought, since it's a thief, it feels like it should be caramel. Just caramel from the darkness. The wizard, smoky black tea. Wizard's different than sorcerer, I guess. The druid, green tea with herbs and berries. The paladin, highly charismatic, aromatic white tea. So, okay, paladin. The paladin is the person going around from town to town who just had a very plain white tea. It's just white, pure light, you know, trying to be important. And so everyone else has like notes of stuff. I guess we have sumptuous, seductive, but here we have highly charismatic, aromatic white tea. It just feels like you're trying too hard, Paladin. It's the age of Aquarius. People don't want to believe in your holy light of healing anymore. We've got clerics for that. I mean, the bard, I don't mind this flourish, right? The romantic floral or Earl Grey. Although, no, a bard is not Earl Grey. Earl Grey is a friggin' boring tea. A bard is like herbal to the nines. A bard should have some raspberry hibiscus up in that bish. You know what I mean? No, you just lost all credibility. Spice rooibos for a barbarian? There you go. You're back on track. And then green tea with exotic jasmine for the monk? Okay, I'll give you a pass. Bard, I firmly believe that the bard is the incorrect tea here. Firmly believe it. Anyway, there's some teas for you. Probably too expensive. You could probably just go to the grocery store and get yourself some other teas. But hey, maybe you want this because it's branded in a fun, funny way, and that might be worth it to you. I figured I'd mention it. That finishes also July 28th at 7:59 p.m. Moving along to something that I have to look into, because I haven't yet. I haven't looked into what the Supermoon does on this Planet Unknown expansion and deluxe edition reprint. Oh man, did I think I'd have to do a 5 reasons for this campaign. I don't, but God, do I wish I had to, because I desperately want it, and I have put myself in for a group buy. I guess we should wait until the pick for you to say that, but let's see what their marketing stuff is about. It's a testament to the game of Planet Unknown that, like, I didn't even care what the expansion was, and I literally haven't looked into it. I've been, like, checking this campaign page over and over again. This is also how FOMO can kind of, like, sweep you up. I think the Supermoon expansion, just from that little brief thing, probably doesn't need to exist whatsoever. Planet Unknown is a fantastic game. It really is. It was my #1 game that I played at the Niagara Board Game Convention this year. It has been, it's so good. Honestly, maybe it should have made my mid-year check-in, because I forgot that was this year as well. On your turn, somebody spins a Lazy Susan. If it's your turn, you get to spin the Lazy Susan, and then you get to choose between these two pieces to put onto your board. You're creating a polyomino Tetris-like board. You're getting points for everything that you put down, and every time you put something down, oh, look at that, Kennerspiel to Yaris, nomination 2023. It was beaten by challengers in the Kennerspiel. Yeah, I thought it was the Kinderspiel, and then I was a bit confused there. Kennerspiel just means a little bit more advanced. But what's happening is they're putting forward the deluxe edition of this game. Anyway, I forget what I was talking about. Let's talk about the expansion. Let's talk about the main game. I know what I was looking for. I was looking for some graphics to tell you how it plays. Yes, thank you for the Supermoon rulebook. That's how you friggin' do it. You'll have these tech tracks. This is neat, because this is the new Supermoon, is that you can mix and match these tech tracks. Basically, anytime you place a tile down, it will have it will have 2 different tech tracks that you can move up one of them. So it might have red and green on it. You can move up either one on your red and one on your green. And all these tech tracks do different things. The red one allows you to move your rover some more. The little tech track over here is a tech track, which will unlock these special abilities for you. The blue one is associated with water. The black one is associated with like civilization cards, which give you one-time bonuses or permanent abilities that go throughout the game. And the faster you race up that, the more selection you have from all of your other people. And then here, the green one will give you little single green tiles that you can use to fill in your board, because every row and column that you have filled at the end of the game, you get a point. You get points for anything that you cover on your tech track as well. And then you generally will get points for removing meteorites from your board, meteorites that come on tiles. Now with the Supermoon, they're also going to give you 4 planet quadrants. So 1 new planet. You get 1 new planet with the Supermoon that you can then mix and match, but only 1 person can have access to it, right? So really just 1 new planet. And then 2 board halves for 4 unique combinations with 1 corporation. So you get 1 new unique corporation. It's a $30 expansion, and then they're selling you the deluxe expansion, the deluxe edition of Planet Unknown, for $100. And in this deluxe edition, there are some things that I really, really want, and there are some things which I don't care about whatsoever. They're not offering the retail edition in this with some stuff, which is annoying. They're also not, it's not that clear right now if you're going to get a Lazy Susan lid in any subsequent retail editions of the game. But it's really fun, and I'm excited to add it to my collection. And a lot of the fun comes from the tech tracks being asymmetrical and the planets being asymmetrical. Every planet has its own little, not ability, but kind of like a hindrance that you have to deal with your own polyomino puzzle. And you get a bunch of extra planets in this deluxe edition. You get 12 total planets, I think. It doesn't tell you the number. What is going on, Planet Unknown? This makes you so mad. It's like just so easy to do. You're also going to get these 3D elements, which I don't care about whatsoever. The rovers were already 3D. The meteorites and the life pods aren't in the basic edition, and I don't really care that they're not. And then you're going to get things to house them in, which also don't care about these whatsoever. So like my consideration here, if we move to the cost of it all, is if I were to get everything, it would be $175 Canadian plus shipping. Now, I'm in a potential group buy, in which case the shipping would be like $5. So that I could tolerate. However, it's very expensive, especially when Planet Unknown used to be $80 Canadian. This is at Board Game Bliss. I sent them a message. I said, hey, are you getting more Planet Unknown in? And will it be the same price? Because I don't know if I can personally justify spending $180, $190 when I could get this for $80. That's what I want to pay for it. I think it's a perfectly good game at retail, and it'll probably be coming back in at retail. The Supermoon expansion, let's read through the rulebook. Let's see what it is, really. It's going to be quick. You get 1 fractured planet and 1 fractured corporation, so it just gives you some asymmetry and some variability for these planets. Honestly, that doesn't excite me whatsoever. I think the way they built the other planets is good. This having some asymmetry of the quadrants, I don't really care about. And then you also get these Supermoon boards where you have a asymmetric backside. It just extends your game a little bit. And honestly, I don't know if that's the way to go either, because the game ends when somebody can't place anything on their planet. And so if you're placing things on your Supermoon, that naturally will extend the size of your planet and extend the amount of time at which you get to play. But I felt like it was really fairly balanced in that first go around, that like I don't know if I'd want that extension of time. You know, when you have those games where it's just like it ends the perfect moment because you can't max out your stuff? Like I was pretty close to maxing out a lot of stuff, and I wanted to do more. And I think a game leaving you with that wanting more sensation is better than a game that lets you max out everything completely, because then that's going to get a little bit more stale. So there are a number of meteorites that are on here, and basically you're moving a little satellite around, and then the satellite's laser will destroy it. I don't know, though. See here, game end follows with one exception. Tiles that can be legally placed on the moon must be placed and will not trigger the game end. Gut reaction feels like extending the game is not the correct way to go. So you can see me, I'm here, a board game geek. I'm happy to start up Carton 4. There's a big group buy going. Carton 4. 3 people in Toronto, in the Toronto area, need to get in on it to force me to spend the money on Planet Unknown. Otherwise, I think I can wait for the retail. And the thing is, the real thing, and I'll go to the add-on section, The real thing that's making me want to pull the trigger is this is included in the base game, right? The Hobby Retail Edition content upgrade. This is included in the deluxe game, and you get 6 additional maps. You get 6 additional planets, and the asymmetry of the planets is really fun. And I know I want more. And I was like, that's all I want from an expansion. I don't know if this Supermoon expansion is good enough as a gut reaction. But then again, I've only played it once, so I don't know. But anyway, so my factoring in this decision, the fact that you can get it for not a lot of shipping, and I know I want this, makes me just decide to go all in, I'm like, hey, I loved the game so much. Adding in additional stuff feels okay. Maybe the Supermoon module will be easy to implement. It will extend that game. Although now actually looking into it, I'm very worried that it's not going to be that good, that it's going to hurt that balance, that it's going to hurt that tightrope. But then again, I wanted to place more. I wanted to place more things on my board, and I was unable to in my play. And I think that was a good thing. I think that really contributed positively to my experience. But anyway, that's enough on this one. Jeez, I gotta keep going. $100 for it is expensive because it is the deluxe edition, right? It's 134 Canadian plus shipping, which I can justify that slightly because I know it would be 110 Canadian in retail likely if that's what they're charging for the add-on pack, and then I'd also have to pay tax on that, so it'd be like 120-ish. So if I'm giving Adam's Apples Games a little bit more money, like 10 or whatever, to guaranteed get that content, then I'm okay with it. But the deluxe stuff I really don't need, and the Supermoon, I'm kind of just getting it to get it, and that's a bad thing. So I legitimately hope that container doesn't get filled, that group buy doesn't get filled, and I can get it at retail. But if it does get filled, I'll take that as a sign that I should purchase it and go in for that game. Anyway, that's where I am about this one. It just feels so pricey, and yet I kind of
want it.
Oh no!
You kind of want it.
Oh no! I see what I've done here.
Yes, give in to the slippery. Give in to the slidey. Fill your boots and buckets with lots of tasty little games. I'll make it better. Course. I'll make it better for you. I'll fill up that whole carton.
Looks like
you're going to be purchasing it because I'm getting 3.
Forced to purchase it since my entire carton is now
full of oil, full of slippery little oil and slippery little games and slippery little trinkets.
Okay, that's enough. It's full of 3 other games, and that's it.
Well, maybe it's full of some trinkets and some surprises.
I don't.
I'll talk to you later.
Anyway, that finishes also Friday, July 28th at 8:42 p.m. if you are interested. Let's move along. No, we're not. I was going to do this, but if you look at the backer count and then you look at the actual people who have pledged, it feels like a false funding to me. And I'm not that interested in false fundings. I first created, and low backer number feels too risky. So we're going to move on. That's just, okay. I know I've gone a bit off the rails here. We had our Naughty Knolls, so I had to include what I thought was Ratboizzzz. And now I realize it's Ratbots, and I'm infinitely disappointed. Not as disappointed as when, Allplay.com got actually bought, but still pretty disappointed. Let's move along quickly to On the Underground, Paris and New York. That's now on GameFound. This was on Kickstarter. Yeah, this was on Kickstarter back November 29th to December 6th, judging by my crowdfunding list. And now they've come over to GameFound just to dip a little bit more into the plot. That's why their goal was very small, because they're basically using a GameFound campaign as they prepare their pledge manager, which probably will be on GameFound. So way to go for picking up an extra $30,000 on the Underground, but you probably would have picked that up in late pledges anyway. And you still might, as you help this one singular passenger get all across whatever city they want to go to. There's one passenger, one single person, and you got to take them. You got to build them an entire network of transit. Why they couldn't buy a car, I don't know. They're Mr. Moneybags, and they are buying an entire subway system for only them to ride. And not only that, they're buying an entire subway system from multiple construction companies as you compete for their favor. which subway has the least graffiti on it. Anyway, if you're interested in that, you can check out Crowdfunding Countdown, episode 70, because that's when we covered it. As always, there's 100 of these episodes, and if there's something that you think has been on crowdfunding, probably I've looked at it and can give you a, 4-minute distillation of it to save you some time. Let's move along to the real star of this episode. And that, of course, is Mango Cabana, the fruity nightclub game. Okay, this one also only has 31 backers from 1,200. Okay, so $40 each they've spent. That's not bad. Let's see. Oh, this is going to be bad, but I don't care because it's given me a nice little chuckle. Great, nothing useful there. But it is drafting. Okay, so I lied. There is something useful. Schedule 6 performers each. Whoever has the best combination of talent scheduled while avoiding penalties wins. Okay, cool. So here's your drafting. You're going to have 6 cards, and you see why they're drawing 2. Is because whichever one you pick out of the row, the other one goes away. So there's a bit of like hate drafting there. It's not a great graphic to tell you that visually, but that is what is happening. You're taking one away. You're taking Lola for yourself, obviously. And you're taking friggin' Avocado Albert, Racine, Rachel. It's Rachel. It's not Racine. Racine. We're not in a 17th century French play. No rulebook, but I'm pretty sure that's the game. You add it to your own night. You have to create a great night that's happening. You can see Robert and Rachel are performing the first night, and then Nate is holding it down. Then Patty and Frank are going, and then Lola, obviously, Lola is going to be the closer on your final night of the event. I mean, come on. I already have my tickets to Lola the Mango's show. Let me tell you, it is a night to remember. A night to remango. She is quite the dancer. A flamenco dancer. Ah. But yeah, pretty simple. Each card is going to have a thing on it. You want to get that, satisfy it, and satisfy your own club condition. Everybody's a club condition, and it'll say, hey, we want you. At this club, we always have 2 performers on Sunday. 1 saint and 1 sinner, baby. Let's see how much it is. Print and play, $5. I like that. $29 US, 39 Canadian for a physical copy of Mango Cabana. Local pickup in Cincinnati, Ohio, or Grand Rapids, Michigan. That's cool. And then what's shipping like? Shipping, full game, $7 to the US, 18 to Canada, right? So not doing that. It feels a bit expensive for what it is. I feel like a lot of these card games and should be in that $20 range, or like what I want to see in the $15 range, Broken and Beautiful was $15 on Kickstarter. And that seems like a more fun drafting game than one this provides. Still, Patty Mangosteen and Lola Mango, as you can see up there, really do have my heart.
What are you saying about having a heart? Huh? You
No, absolutely not.
What?
But not as much as my dear Maggie, obviously. There's only one Mango-y that I like.
No, that's cute.
And that's my beautiful Maggie.
Yes, you're my beautiful boy. Thank you for having me.
We've had...
over and over.
When did we first meet, Maggie?
Many moons ago.
Death Road All-Stars?
Yes.
Let's go down memory lane.
Okay.
July 28th, 2021. That was early on.
Early days.
That was early on.
Yes.
And look, we've made it for 2 years, basically 2 years. July 28th, this is coming out.
Yeah.
This is July 24th. It was... Now I really got to check the date. Is this our 2-year anniversary?
Yes, it is.
It was July 26th that we met. So in 2 days' time,
meet.
We'll be celebrating our 2-year anniversary.
That's it. It's felt like
Although
200.
technically we probably filmed it a little bit before. So
don't confuse
them. We'll
them.
call it the 26th.
Yes, let's call it the 26th.
Well, of course.
Yes, it feels like a million years.
That's exactly what I would say.
Because it feels timeless with you.
Sweet, beautiful
You,
woman.
my beautiful lover.
Best relationship I've ever had.
Oh, I would double that.
What?
What?
No, Renee.
Oh,
Renee doesn't exist.
Well, we don't care about Renee.
Renee knows where she stands.
I'm not threatened.
It's Maggie. Anyway, the Mango game, that finishes August 1st at 1:01 a.m. Bye-bye, George. This is what Renee will be saying to me after she watches this episode, but it hasn't funded, so let's move on. We got only a couple more. Stonespine Architects craft the most perilous labyrinth to become a dungeon master in this card drafting game for 1 to 5 players. A role player tale. You've created your characters, and now you can create the dungeons. Eventually, you will be ready to do a full campaign with all of the stuff that you've created from the designer of Cartographers. Cartographers is fun. $36. Okay. Let's see what the drafting's all about. Yeah, that seems kind of fun. Let's see if they've got a rule book. But it seems very simple. You're going to be drafting cards. You're going to be playing it into your dungeon. And especially, this looks like it's the entrance up here. Oof, look at all those gelatinous cubes you got to face. Each thing will have different scoring conditions. You'll want to hit those scoring conditions, be the master architect, and win the game. Choose between mapping a path, placing key elements in your room, or searching for extra treasure. Spend gold between rounds to customize your labyrinth with monsters, traps, treasures, and secret passages. At the end of 4 years, well, I guess it takes a long time to build a dungeon, the player with the most treacherous dungeon will earn the title of Master Architect. Wait a minute, Stonespine Architects is played over 4 rounds? No, 4 years! You will be playing this game for 4 years, and you'll still get more play from it than that campaign game you bought and never opened. It had 100 hours of content! This has 4 years. You start the game with a unique blueprint and compete with other players for 2 global scoring goals. That's cool. Connect rooms to your dungeon entrance or exit to earn additional points. Cool. So that's what so it's just a number of things that you have to be managing all at once, which I think is fun. It's kind of what Cartographers is all about. $36 US. Not horrible. This feels like a retail purchase to me, though. I mean, that is a nice box, holding everything together. I do appreciate that quite a bit. And you get the little shrines and fountains mini expansion. All right, so maybe that's worth the shipping to you. Let's see what the shipping is. I'd also still like to see a rulebook, please. Yes, thank you. I mean, it is 3/4 down the page, but better than most. Oh, cool. Your condition is your starting location is determined by your own starting blueprint, which I like. So each year you place a single row of 4 chamber cards. So you have to go from top to bottom. Less interested in that, but I guess it makes sense because there's a gold value on each card. Then there's the improvement phase, which is divided into 2 steps. You can count gold and visit the market. Gold is the value of your cards that are exposed, and then plus any treasure chests in your rooms. That makes sense. The more gold you have, the more priority you have, so the better in turn order as well. And then you can purchase tokens, so you can purchase things to add into your room. So if you didn't get that card that you needed, and you need a 3rd gelatinous cube in this area to fulfill your blueprint, you can purchase them from the token, from the market in the improvement phase. So finally, you get scored, and you get points. You get points for the priority, aka the amount of gold that you would have had at the end of the year, for the general goal card, your 3 challenge cards, your own personal things, your own reputation in the dungeon, and then your own blueprint as well. And then finally, your dungeon pass, where you gain 1 reputation for each chamber with a path connected to the entrance, 1 reputation for each chamber with a path connected to the exit, and then finally, you get 2 if it's connected to both. So if all of your things are connected, path-wise, you can earn a heckload of points. Player with the most reputation is a winner. Yeah, seems pretty simple. Neat. 36 US, which is 48 Canadian, and shipping is the US $8, 14 to Canada. $8 feels all right, especially if this mini expansion actually is $7. I mean, I feel like it's kind of just. I mean, you can also. I didn't mention this. You can get this cute little Minotaur plushie if you like plushies. If you're a plushie person. If you want this 7-card mini expansion, which they say is $7 because it's 7 cards. I mean, I wouldn't pay that much regularly. But hey, it gives you a little bit of extra value. Check it out. I think it looks solid. That finishes Tuesday, August 1st at 7 p.m. I feel like this is still a retail purchase, though. However, I get it. And not the worst thing you can do. And finally, we have Star Schlock Battle Game, a miniatures and skirmish rules, the tabletop miniatures game inspired by sci-fi of the 1970s and 80s. Oh, this really hasn't raised a lot. It might be a backer. Which means it's an average of $150 spent on this thing per person. And their core pledge is $95. All right, that's potentially real. Let's check it out. Well, if you ever wanted to play as Captain Kurt, and certainly not Captain Kirk, I don't know why you would think it was Captain Kirk whatsoever. It is Captain Kurt, the non-IP, copyright-free version of a famous starship captain. I actually thought that was a pretty good video. It gave a small indication of battle of the cards that are out there, and it was a good breakdown of in 55 seconds. I also particularly like this shot where they're showing the movement the measurement movement that I hate in games, but you might love. Moving your troops across the mat, rolling dice at each other. See, attack medium ranged. If you're in medium range, they can attack with a pistol, right? Plus some stats up there. Is it enough for a core recruit pledge of the base starter set for $95 US and 126 Canadian? I don't think so. I've never thought so in terms of war games, but people love war games, so I figured I'd mention all this stuff. They just feel too rich for my blood. Each player fields between 6 and 30 figures, the heroes and the villains of the Star Schlock lore, or the 5-figure group units, the unnamed background troopers who get mowed down in droves. That's funny. I think this feels pretty charming. Rules preview right at the top of the page. Give it to me. I mean, I'm just going to look through this one a little bit more briefly. I'm not a huge war gamer. I'm not a huge skirmish game person. I don't feel like I am the expert in terms of determining what translates into fun. But I thought this setting did seem pretty neat. And hey, you get metal figures, and I'm pretty sure that they're lead. Oh, lead-free pewter. Perfect. We're safe. I love that they have to specify that it's lead-free because some of the other ones weren't. So I am going to kind of go through this, listening to these little apes so that us little smooth brains can understand. So you have groups that are always kind of clustered together and then a hero. That's kind of fun. And that's what you would have, 12 figures. So in terms of base pledge, though, like you're getting 2 units, essentially, is what you're getting. And you're paying $95 to play with 2 units. That doesn't feel good from a value perspective, like whatsoever. And then you have to go up to an enormous amount, 160, to just get into this base system with these measuring tools and these tokens and these schlock dice. Like, I get it. Seems like it could be fun. Like, it seems like if somebody had this and they pulled it out and they wanted to play, I for sure would help. I would play with them. Punching all the tokens, putting them on the battle to make sure things are happening. People are down in size. And you have close, short, medium, and long range attacks moving around on the board, rolling dice for checks. Gather dice, roll the test, read the results. You gather a dice pool, and then you test it. Seems pretty simple to understand, but it just feels, it feels way too expensive. But all war games are too expensive for me, right? That's just what they are, so I can't really comment on it. $650 shipping to the US for the Scout. So it's the minimum possible shipping you can get. $12, but if you're going to go for the whole hog, $25. The shipping feels decent, but the price feels pretty expensive. Anyway, if that excites you beyond reproach, go check that out. That finishes Tuesday, August 1st at 11 p.m. That's it. That is it for the week. Every week I do a pick for me and a pick for you. Pick for me being the thing that I'm the most interested in. I wonder which one that's going to be. And the pick for you being the thing that I think, if you got, you would be happy with. Or that looks potentially the most mechanically sound to me, or has the highest level, highest chance, highest percentage of being good. Before we get to the pick of the week, though, to those of you who watch every video that I put out, there may not be new videos coming out this week. I might take the week to kind of prep and get ready for some more content, get some more reviews ready, up and ready. It's been a long few weeks, and I'm feeling a bit stressed. I have been feeling stressed for a long time, so I just might take the pressure off myself this week in terms of creating stuff, and then be back in full force next week. So just letting you know, I'm still here. I'm still prepping for things. I'm going to be playing games and trying to get those done with, but just in case I should have the time, but also with a little bit of time opening up, I want to spend some time with people and creating relationships, which I have absolutely neglected over the last month and a half. So I might take that for this week and, let myself off the hook. It's just your heads up. But now let's go to the pick of the week. Obviously, I'm not going to belabor this point too much. Pick for me is Planet Unknown. I was very clear in the Niagara board game video that I did when myself, Zach, and Colin filmed talking about all of our favorite games. Myself and Zach, it was our favorite game that we played there. It was Colin's third favorite game that he played in the weekend. I said, as soon as this comes back into circulation, I'm going to buy myself a copy. And I will either get this. I think I am bound to getting it now on Kickstarter, since Slippery Jim is going to fill that entire rest of the container with, honestly, substances that I don't want to think about. So I might be getting the deluxe. I would be completely happy, though, just getting this at retail And I think that is the recommendation. I think paying double is foolish. It's really foolish. And even as somebody who really likes this game, it's a foolish thing. And this is a cry for help that I'm even considering it. I don't think the Supermoon expansion is actually going to be very good at all. I think it's going to maybe detract from the main experience, and yet I like that main experience quite a lot. So I think it's just look for this at retail, look for it at retail, and don't get suckered in like me because you want 6 extra planets and are inexplicably thinking about paying $80. This is a bad decision. I need to immediately go back on that group. I just don't want to go back because now I've already said something and committed. The person who's manning the listing, they took the time to put my name in there, and I don't want to just say, hey, I've had a change of heart, take me away. So if I'm able to get somebody some cheaper shipping who wants it, then that's how I can justify it. Anyway, that's my pick for me. Pick for you, Mordred, I do think looks fun. I'm trying to think if this is the pick for you. I don't think it is. With the shipping added on, I think there are other area control games out there that'll give you a similar excitement factor. I don't know if I can talk Colin out of getting it. I don't know if I want to talk Colin out of getting it because he seems excited. And I think it is sound enough that it's okay to be excited about it. It's not the pick for you, though. I think the pick for you is going to be Stonespine Architects. It feels like the most reasonably priced one right now that has the highest chance of success of being a solid card drafting game. But honestly, I wouldn't spend your money on this. I would just get cartographers. I think you can get cartographers for $20, 22 Canadian. You can get cartographers, which is a pretty solid roll and write, and will probably give you the same feeling and scratch the same itch as Stonespine. So that's the pick. The pick of the week is really just cartographers, and it's not even my favorite roll and write. So that should tell you the level of excitement I'm at. But yeah, that's it for the week. Thank you for being here. Tell me what you're excited about, what you're not. I always have fun hanging out, hearing from you. And so I just wanted to say, for 100 episodes now, we've been doing this thing. And I appreciate everybody who's been here for all of them. I appreciate if you're just tuning into this one. Here's to another 2. I'll do 2 more. But from me,
and me. Don't forget about me, wise guy.
And don't forget about my mama.
Yeah, really, all of us here at Room and Board, specifically Crowdfunding Countdown.
Ding dong, the crowdfunding
doesn't even make sense because you were late.
Well, I'm
you were late. Nobody even remembers you.
Never comes on.
No one even remembers you as a character.
Yes,
I'm not even going to say your name.
You know I'm Shady Jim,
That's
Shady
not.
Big Ben.
That's your own
Shady Big
nickname
Ben,
for
Big
yourself,
Ben.
and it doesn't work. Anyway, for all of us here at Room and Board, thanks for being here. My name is Chris George, and I do not have a catchphrase, but these cretins do, and they're all going to say it all at the same time. We'll see you in the next one. You have to be the same length as everyone else, or else it doesn't. No, I just heard it. I just cut the tape. Cut the tape.